All right. Well, everybody, I want to welcome you to the Direct Selling Open Forums Raw in 2021 session. This is just so much fun. Session 3 this year, we are actually already booked up through August of this year with monthly forums from incredible speakers in the space. Today is no exception. My name is Ben Dixon. I'll be your host today. It's been fun getting to serve in the forum. This has been 3 years in the making, and we've moved all of our forums to these live monthly forums just in 2021, and the participation has been just out of this world of who's coming to speak, and then a lot of the feedback each of you get when we send out the replays who can't attend live versus coming live. But today we have 2 of our 3 speakers already on the line that are incredible folks. So I want to go ahead and just make some intros and walk you through who they are. And if Laura joins us a moment late, I'll share her intro as well. So first up, we have Mr. Jeremiah Bradley on the line. And I've known Jeremiah, gosh, I've just with your time at ZYIA, probably the last 4 years we've connected on and off. And Jeremiah entered the space way back in 2004. I know he looks super young, so he was 11 when he became an executive in the space. And he served in a bunch of different roles, but mostly was a CEO for a multinational company in the space that he was able to turn around from being unprofitable to over 100 plus million in revenues. And then later in life, we've all had these seasons, right? He turned to saying, what kind of business could I do with my beautiful wife, Erin? Like, come on, isn't that awesome? I love those kinds of stories. Like, it's like, what kind of business could I do with my gorgeous wife? Awesome. And he founded ZYIA Active, where he created a direct sales experience and used all the discipline from the past to be able to win in the space. And that's what's all come together. So here, Laura's joining us. Here, one second, right now. And then Joe on the line. And before we move to Joe real quick, sorry, Laura was just messaging. She's joining in. So what's so incredible about Jeremiah's story that I want us to hear from today was super focused. And yes, they had success at ZYIA over those years. Yes, they were past the $1 million a month mark that many of you who are listening on the line get to. But in 2020, their growth was more than 10x that. It just shot up monthly in the space. And we want to talk about unprecedented growth and what you do with that today. It's going to be a huge part of our session. Next on the line, we have Joe Kenemore. Joe has stepped in to cover for Daniel Chavez today, which is perfect. And I've known Joe in a couple different capacities over the last few years. And it's exciting to have him here today because he started with video development way back at even Nu Skin in the space. And then if you look at Eric Worre's Network Marketing Pro brand, do you know who was the brains behind a lot of those events and the content and building that whole thing? He's here, Joe Kenemore. He built that. He also was in part of that viral growth that you saw 2 years ago with the massive sampling program at True Vision for the weight loss program. That's Joe Kenemore and his team there. Today, Joe serves as CEO of Mailbox Power, a direct sales company that helps business owners communicate effectively by getting real physical goods in the mail to their customers, like brownies and cards and awesome stuff that start conversations in the space as a direct sales company. Laura, when she joins us as well, has had a number of experiences of unprecedented growth. She had a successful bakery that was featured on the hit show Cupcake Wars, and then moved into direct sales as a top seller for a company called ZYIA that I was the provider for at the time. Today, she's president of a company called AMPLIFEI, and in the last 90 days, they went from 0 to $500,000 in revenue to last month doing $3.5 million a month in revenue. So knows a little something about unprecedented growth and how you jump in to do that. So gang, thank you for letting me give the long-winded introductions, and thank you for being here. Laura will be with us here in just a moment. So Jeremiah and Joe, how are you doing today?
Yeah, well, great. Especially after that intro, I appreciate it. That was very kind.
Well, I agree. It's a fantastic day. And Ben, I like to tell everybody I'm oozing with optimism. Be careful. I may be contagious.
That's perfect. And Laura, thank you so much for joining us today. And my apologies here on the time thing. So that could have been my goof. Laura had it for 30 minutes later, and here we are. So thank you for joining us in the car.
I'm so sorry.
Being here today. We just walked through your store, Laura, from Cupcake Wars to distributor to ZYIA to unprecedented growth at AMPLIFEI with your wonderful husband, Robert. So We're so excited to have you here on the panel today. We have Jeremiah here with you, of course, founder of ZYIA Active, and Joe, founder of Mailbox Power. So gang, let's go ahead and get started. Everyone wants to get into the first question. So I'm gonna pull up the questions, show it on the screen, then I'll stop sharing so we can all see our faces bigger instead of these mini Zoom windows, and we will get to talk about it. So the first question I'm gonna pass this one to Jeremiah first, and then we'll go around the room, is how do you plan for unprecedented growth? And what are your favorite strategies for managing it when it occurs? Because it's kind of a fun one. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I guess the first thing I would say is you have to be careful with the salespeople, because if you're planning for unprecedented growth, then they just assume it'll happen and they'll spend every dime they have. And then if it doesn't happen, you're out of business. So you do have to be careful with it. So something that worked well for us as we started 4 years ago in my living room, and within 2 months had to rent a small warehouse, and 3 months later had to rent the warehouse next to it. And then within a year had 4 warehouses within a block of each other. And at year 2 had to move out of all of those into 2 bigger warehouses. But what we did, if you're in, so I guess I bring up that story because what we did when we could tell that we were growing faster than, I don't want to say we knew what would happen, but we knew we couldn't project what we were going to do. There was no way we could tell where we were going to be, even in 6 months or 12 months. So we kept ourselves in a situation where we could be agile. We weren't signing long-term leases. We weren't doing anything that was going to get us into financial trouble to where it could hurt us. And the same goes for if you grow quickly and then drop. If you're in an 80,000 square foot warehouse and then all of a sudden your sales fall in half, you have to figure out how to still cover that bill. So I think for us, it was always maintaining agility with what we were spending on my side of it, because that's really where I focus, while also maintaining, making sure that the team is doing everything possible to handle that growth and get the product that they need. We tried to make it as simple as possible for we call them reps, your distributors. They need to be able to just do a couple of things. And if we can do everything else, take all the rest of the burden off and know how to do it efficiently, we're good. But I guess what I would say is maintain agility and watch your costs.
Man, that is a good word. Man. Well, Joe, let's go to you next. We'll give Laura just a moment as well.
Yeah, definitely. Boy, I'm not only happy to be here, but boy, I'm glad there's other people sharing in my some of my woes. Meaning, unprecedented growth can scare the living daylights out of you if you don't know what's coming, and clearly we just don't. We can predict, but as Jeremiah was saying, I don't know how big of a space I'm going to need to manufacture my products next month, next quarter, next year. All I can do is make educated guesses. But I guess one of the things that I found is this, and I found this through a literal school of hard knocks, and that is, it's called leave a man behind. So when you're building something, when you're building a program, build a system that you can walk away from and leave that man, that woman behind that manages whatever it is that you just built. If you're building, a sales system, build the sales system in mind that you can step away from it, help build it, train somebody, or have somebody in mind that you can leave behind, whether it be in your production facility, in your sales facility, in your, social media, whatever it is that you're building, build it systematically so you can actually step away from it. I have made huge mistakes in life, and I'm just going to say that if everything revolves around you, you have issues coming that you can't even see, and you might as well just hang your hiney out the window and wait to get smacked, because I got to tell you, you can't grow without people around you that are qualified to help you grow, and they understand how you want to grow and the company's message, the marketing, what is it how are we supposed to grow, and what is the company's voice, and is that voice still heard the same from that person you left behind to help you build? I think, like I said, it can be a scary place some days when, we actually put a down payment on a building. We're just going to buy the building, and went, okay, well, if we buy the building and the bottom falls out of this thing, we still own a piece of real estate that we can rent later and still be whole in the end. But I think, like Jeremiah was saying, how do you grow something that's growing so fast and stay financially whole and not get harmed? And that, I guess the best practice I have is just, leave that man, woman behind, systematize everything you possibly can, because to scale is what we're all really speaking to, is scary scaling, right? And I can't scale unless I have people around me that can understand, and I built a system for them. So that's my answer.
Man, that is really good stuff, Joe. I think it's funny. We always use the word of the field of duplication, right? All the time. We say, oh yeah, if you're not duplicating, your field team's not going to grow. And it's the same thing in the corporate team. It's the same thing with all of your processes as you scale a company. Like, you have to take that part that you had as a rep years ago in the space and say, any corporate team I'm going to build, I'm leaving that woman behind or leaving that man behind to own that and be accountable for that. It's a critical piece. And Jeremiah, yours on managing costs is so important. I remember being in a meeting in 2010 in Monat headquarters, right when they had built infrastructure for 3 million independent sales reps, and the building's humming with people, and yet there was only 300,000 active sales reps. And what an adjustment that was, of like, how do you take next steps when sales had fallen in such a sharp curve the other way? And yeah, if your cost structure wasn't set up right, you're going to be in challenging times. One piece to keep in mind as a note, just from what I've seen too, off what Jeremiah shared, gang, too, is your financing costs. Like, don't just think about your product costs and your purchasing costs. I've seen some great companies and profitable companies not make it from using the wrong financing vehicles, even in their situations where you're stuck with just interest that's out of this world that you can't control. So this is some good feedback from the notes for what we're hearing here today. Laura, let's go to you next. What are some of your favorite strategies for managing unprecedented growth now that it's occurring in your life with you and your husband and your new company, AMPLIFEI? Yeah.
Well, first of all, thanks, Ben, for having me on here. I appreciate it. And I'm so sorry that I was late. I don't know why I put it in my calendar at 1:30, and I'm like, yeah, no, I've still got 25 minutes. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I'm so sorry, Joe and Jeremiah, for being late on here.
Apology accepted. We'll have a good session regardless. Yeah.
Okay, so because we've been in this, I will tell you, so both of these guys have given excellent and amazing answers. And I will just reiterate that what Joe had mentioned about, having a good team and leaving that guy and letting them have their own sandbox. So sandboxes are very, very important, because if you're the one who is running everything, doing all, everything, one, you're going to burn out. Two, there's no way you can do anything at a mass capacity by yourself. You have to have people in place ahead of time that, maybe you aren't financially able to hire them yet, but have them lined up, getting your people set, be like, okay, so when we hit this number, then we can bring this person in to help assist with this stuff, and know what your sequence is going to be to kind of predict what that, is going to look like. But my number one thing I would say is over communication. So because of the fact that we are in a people business, people really, really want to know what is going on. I think it kind of stems from reality TV and people getting to look in other people's lives and being like, oh, I just have to know. I want to know what this person's house looks like. I want to know, I don't care about reality TV myself, but what I'll tell you is if someone sends me a message and is like just honest and open and transparent, like, hey, we're on back order. We've grown this fast. The production company couldn't keep up with it. I'm okay with that. But if you're hyping me up and you're to be like, oh no, everything's fine, just go ahead and keep ordering, and we keep getting more and more in back order, more and more and more, I mean, that's just ridiculous. So, and I've seen some companies that have done those types of things, and they're just like, no, it's okay, we don't want anyone to freak out or worry. But I'm like, no. What you're doing is causing that freak out, that retention loss in the company, the field, you want to call it, because the fact they don't feel like they can trust you. So if even when you're ready to grow and you're growing at such a huge mass scale and you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, we've sold out, we're going to be 2 weeks out. We're coming back, this is what it's going to look like, and let them know, give them the expectation. We're going to keep communicating with you. We're going to be in touch on what's going on. That goes so much further with people, and they don't really care about, well, so-and-so dropped the ball here and this and this and this. They could care less about that. They just want to feel really a part of the company, that, you're somebody that they can trust to figure all these different sandboxes out. Like, they don't need to know everybody's sandbox. They just need to know that we have people in their sandboxes and people are working diligently and they're fine. They're taken care of. So that's where my biggest suggestion would be for people is, we can leave the hype in the 90s and, just be really transparent and raw with people now, because people understand, COVID delays. They understand, hey, we grew so fast, we have to find a bigger production company that's able to put out, this type of mass thing. You just got to be honest with them.
Oh, before I go, does anyone have any comments on what Laura just shared? There were some nuggets there.
Nuggets? Are you kidding me? That was amazing.
Oh,
I want to do business with Laura now. Gracious. She's speaking about transparency, just telling people the truth. Boy, that's an easy thing to do.
Well, there's an acronym.
Well, yeah, you would think, but in most cases, my goodness, I love transparency. I love communicating to the field, like you're saying, and just letting them know what's going on and what they can expect. Now, clearly, that's us, where we have to really judge, what are our vendors doing? Can they deliver on time? Right. I can't even tell you the unprecedented problems I've had at the end of 2020, and even still in getting product. It's like, good gracious, it's been such a challenge, to just maintain, the field's, their desire. But anyway, yeah, just communication. That's all it's about. Communicate, let them know, be honest, and everything will go swimmingly. They'll choose something else, I promise.
There's a helpful acronym that I didn't come up with. My partner Rod came up with it, called ETA. It's expectations, training, and accountability. And so when you think about how to over communicate properly to even your staff or to a field leader or someone else, ask yourself if you set proper, it's a language we use internally with over 57 staff that I have, is did I set proper ETA with that person? As I wrote that down in the notes as Laura was sharing, I thought that's just a helpful note to be thinking about as you lead teams. And Jeremiah, did you have another piece? Your face looks like
no. Honestly, I thought like what Laura said is spot on with what has helped us. Is we have had severe growing pains where we went from having 4 months worth of inventory at the March to being sold out of pretty much everything by April 25th. I mean, that's what happened to us in April. We got to where we were shipping out 20,000 orders a day. And a lot of those, 80% of the people purchasing from us are customers. And so they don't quite understand this. We have 2 layers of communication, but if you just are honest and let people know what the problem is and when you anticipate it will be solved, you'll get a lot of grace. But you just, because it's always worse until they'll make up whatever, and who knows what stories start if you can't just tell what is the truth. And so that's something we learned quickly. The second there was any bad news, we were holding some type of quick call. Hey, get the leaders on a call and just make sure they know what is up and why and what we're doing to fix it. So it's the perfect answer for me.
Fantastic. Look, Laura, let's stay with you for the next question, just because how you led there. Our question number 2 today for the forum is, when you do your internal planning, what personal tools do you like to use to keep the priorities right on both long-term versus short-term objectives? I know a lot of executives just think they're the fireman with their hat on and they're just making sure the house doesn't burn down all day long, right? How do you do that in your life, Laura? Long-term and short-term. What kind of tools do you like to use?
Well, I like to use a dry erase board because not everything goes as planned always. As we know, I can plan for all kinds of things. Doesn't mean it's going to get to happen, because there's some things that are going to be out of your control. Sure. So what we do on Tuesdays, most companies would think that I guess it's just natural you would get together with your team on Monday, but we do it on Tuesday so we can get through Monday effectively and have enough stuff to be able to really join together on on Tuesdays. So we do use like, what is it, Basecamp,
Yeah.
to be able to share files and things like that between one another and to communicate. But as far as keeping everyone on task and making sure we get our goals all met, when I was talking about sandboxes, everyone has their individual plan of what they have to accomplish. Okay. And then what we do is we create incentives for the corporate team and things for each of those goals that they meet. So it's more personal accountability. So like the customer service manager, she's going to have this goal and she has her own spreadsheet and things worked out. But like, okay, this is where we want to be at with calls. If we are hitting 50% of calls come in, you know, we want to get that to 80% of calls coming in. You know, when we get to that point right there, then I want to be able to give our customer service people bonuses. You know, what kind of thing can we drive through there? Gamifying different aspects of things to be able to make sure, you know, that people are having fun with what we do. It's not just for the VIPs or reps, what you call them, or, you know, whatever. Yep. We have to make sure that everyone that's in their each individual, you know, department has their own piece that makes it feel like their company, because this is their business too. Mm-hmm. And when you teach people to think like owners and not like employees, then it takes it to a different mechanism. And so people are able to effectively work on their own. So we do communicate with one another and through Basecamp and share files and things like that. We do have a weekly call where people get on and we're like, okay, this is where we're at on our goal, you know, kind of make it a race, be like, you know, how's it going in here? Just checking in with everybody. But personal accountability is more what we push here than anything else. And I want you to be the owner of your department. Like, I'm not going to call and say I know anything about, you know, programming, because number one, that's not my sandbox. Number two, I'm the worst person you ever want messing with any kind of technical anything. So I can't tell you how to do your job. I'm just going to check in with you and be like, so how's that coding thing? You know, like, you know, so as far as that goes, I think for our tools, it's giving people the ability to have that ownership mentality and not an employee mentality.
And making it a game is so good, Laura, of saying like, don't let the fun end in the field promotions. Don't let the fun end just in how it works out there. But hey, customer service should be a game. Like, we need to make customer service a game. And I've gotten to tour home offices where you can tell they have a culture like that, and when they don't, right? It's night and day different.
Completely.
Like night and day different. And those are your frontliners. They're the ones touching your most raving fans, which are your reps in the space. That's a solid thought. Joe, let's kick it to you. Short-term, long-term goals. How do you make that happen? And we'll come back to Jeremiah. We're doing the loop like this
and tools,
back
right?
and forth.
Well, I got to tell you, Laura keeps bringing up these little words like communication. Oh my gosh, yes, I could. That's one of those things that I just look at. But I'm going to share. I'm going to be transparent for a minute. I'm a creative all day long. If somebody says Basecamp to me, I run. I hide. Even though I know it's a great tool, I'm like, no. There's too many details. There's too many words. You know, the too long don't read emails, TLDR, that was meant for me, right? I'm that guy. But I think that, you know, all of us as leaders, we have to have, like you're saying, tools. And how do we plan, you know, for this growth? And a part of my planning is really trying to find those humans that think differently than I do, that actually love Basecamp. They love detail. Spreadsheets, that is their world. They have their own grid. That's not me, but I have to find those people that don't think like me, that actually hang out in my office and take notes and go, hey, you came out with 20 great ideas today. Which one are you going to execute? Oh, crap. Okay, got it. Yes. Anyway, Laura, sounds like you may have the same issue I do.
Same thing. I am not a green personality at all. That's why he's over here asking me this question. I'm sitting here, I'm like,
yeah, exactly. But one, I'm going to give you guys one tool that I have found that's beneficial. And maybe it's not a tool, so to speak, but I like to hire 1099ers before I make them employees.
Ooh.
Do they fit in my world?
Ooh.
Right? Can they communicate with the other team members? And of course, my partners are creatives as well. So it makes it really challenging, especially when you're in a world where I swear I feel like I make 150 tiny decisions every day.
Sure.
Until I can find that person that is, oh, I'm leaving you behind right here. And these are all your questions now. If anybody asks that question, I'm directing it to you for sure. But I do like to start with those 1099ers and move them into the employee status. And in today's day and age, it's getting increasingly more difficult to hire somebody. I mean, I've got great salaries, ranges out there, and people are just like, no, I'll sit home and collect unemployment. Thanks. Like, what?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a go-getter. I want to go do something. I don't want to sit around. I don't even understand your mentality. Like, no, I don't even get it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think, really it all revolves around just making sure you have the right people. As far as tools, human capital, it's a big deal. And I think something was said earlier. I don't know if it was Jeremiah or Laura, but it's people. It's not employees and customers, they're people, and they have expectations, whether they're an employee or a customer or an affiliate, a rep, whatever you want to call them. We're all just people, and that's it. Treat them like good humans, be kind, and everything will work out in the end. I promise. It'll all work out.
Kindness is a tool.
Yes, it is.
No,
definitely.
kindness is a tool. And starting with a 1099 relationship before W-2, you can see that there's a real culture fit is a solid tool. It truly is, to give you, and being upfront about the period of time of when you're dating each other like
Yes.
that is so good.
Yes.
We recently extended that from 3 months to 6 months in our organization, and we've found a lot of helpfulness in both parties being able to say, is this really my long-term vision? Because when your people in your organization truly want to be a part of the long game with you, those are the priceless folks you want forever. So Jeremiah, you've had to do quite a bit of short-term versus long-term planning and managing that in your world. How do you handle short-term versus long-term needs at a company like ZYIA with your bride?
Now I'm a little insecure about talking about it because I am the nerd. I'm the nerd on the panel.
Good. Love you, bro. Love you.
They all wish you were on their team, right? Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give me a good Gantt chart and let's go to work.
Oh God.
Is this 4 months or 6 months away?
Yeah.
No, honestly, that is the way I look at it though, is it all takes planning. And so you find a good team and you make sure that if you do have a plan, that it can be executed in the time frame that you expect, at the cost you expect, and the quality that you expect. And so for me, it goes back to a lot of what's already been discussed with good people, with communication. If everything is communicated and you've got people that you can trust, we don't hire any executive here that we don't know well, that they are honest and efficient, because those are two things that I have run into a lot of people that aren't. But if you are honest and efficient, come on over. You got a spot on my team. So we build a team of honest, efficient people, and then make sure that they've got the tools. We're huge here on Google Doc, just shared Google Docs that anyone can, if we've got a project, anybody involved can see it and can update it. So that goes back to the communication. We've got teams that are in charge of different things. And that's something that I've had to, it's been hard for me to find those people I trust that can do that, because for the first year and a half, I shipped every product we sold. I was literally, that first 3 hours of every day was me putting literally I did everything. I mean, we had a team, but there were months where the customer service gal, she was the highest paid employee. It was a lot of sweat equity. So paid off, but I just think you figure out how to do it and slowly build, I think Joe said, those programs, the systems, and you do that efficiently, that'll take care of the short term and the long term.
It is something to be said about that honest and efficient, right? Honest is one of those core values we all kind of think is a given a lot of times. Like, I would never hire someone who's disintegrous, right? I'm gonna always hire honest. Efficient is one that you have to reach for, because sometimes you think someone's experienced, but if they're not lined up with your core values, your why, and why you exist, and they're just here, probably not going to be efficient. And there's a lot of that runs into where are they coming from and what guidebooks are they leading under. One note for everyone that was said by multiple folks, Laura highlighted it more, but is the standard weekly stand-up time where all the teams know they're going to be together at one time to share their progress, their obstacles, work through that. Some people come from the traction world, from EOS, and use the level 10 meeting as a structure. If you're looking for official structure, if you haven't read Gino Wickman's work on traction, I've used that for 9 years in my world. It's one that comes out a lot that's very similar to what Laura was hinting at. Some of you running your businesses, I hear about it. So executives listening on the line, where you just have these random 3-hour diatribe meetings throughout the week, and that's really hard for your teams to get actual work done when there's not actual scheduled times for that type of interaction. And so, if you ask a lot of these leaders who have gotten into momentum, yes, they're organized enough to have a standard stand-up meeting between the teams and a standard agenda for that meeting, and a framework that builds like little bits of progress on top of the other. That's a good one to hear. All right, team, now we get to some of the funner questions. They're not as long in the answers, but it's stuff that helps everyone together. So if you had one sentence, we're going to start with Jeremiah. What would you say to a fellow direct selling executive that's feeling burnt out in the season? I'm going to say one sentence to them.
One sentence. Sales or revenue would solve all sadness, all being burned out. I've been there multiple times. I can't do it in one sentence because I know that it takes multiple things to get that revenue back. But yeah, that is the key. You get some revenue back and it solves everyone's woes.
Yeah, burnt out. That's good. Joe, what would you say?
I can't do it in a sentence. Can I have a little bit more than that?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I just want to honor your guys' time. I have 3 more questions in 4 minutes.
Okay, so, awesome.
That's right.
Listen, if somebody's if you're suffering from burnout and you're listening to me right now, I could just tell you this. Think about the people. Think about, you have just leveled the playing field in this business for every single rep that joined your business. They need you. They need you to perform. They need you to be there to have their back. They need you to be there to deliver the product and pay the commissions and do the things that you've made the promise to do. But every time I think about burnout, I think about those people. I think about those people that are collecting an income from what me and my partners have created here. I think about, what that income means to them, whether it's them paying their car payment or actually making a full-time living or buying something there for their children they could never have, because of this part-time opportunity they now have before them. That saves me from burnout more than any other thing that I can ever possibly think of, because that human that I stare in the face, I lead the field right now. So, being a field leader, that means I stare them in the face. I want their income to grow. I want to be there to help them every single day. When they, if they want me to be on a call, God bless, I wish I could do a one-to-one call with every one of them, but I can't because I just love them so much and I want to embrace all of them. And here in this weird world, I haven't been able to have a meeting and hug any of them, and it drives me nuts. But anyway, burnout. Just think about those people that are out there. They need you. Be there for them. Just be there for them, and everything will fix itself. That's it.
That's right on. And the why is everything in this business. It's why you're not just selling your products on Amazon. That's why everyone on this line is not selling products on Amazon. Right. You're right on. You feel burnout, and just like Jeremiah said, go fix sales. Why? Because it fixes all those things. Yeah. If sales go up, those burnt out leaders, now they're earning this extra check. Now their lives are changed. It fixes it all. Those are both great answers. Laura, what would you've known a few people who've been burnt out before. What would you say to them, Laura?
Yeah. Why did you start in the first place?
Heck yeah. I'll go for it.
So my biggest reason and why anytime we got burnout or anytime I felt complacent or that I wasn't doing enough, it was, what problem was I attempting to solve? Like, why did I start this? What is my actual mission statement? Is it to help people, have a great community and, give people that source of time freedom, financial freedom that we've all preached about? What was it, the problem? What person comes to mind when I think of the problem that I was attempting to solve? And for me, it was me. And I say this in a humble type of way, and I don't want it to come out as anything but that. But here's the problem that I had. I had been diagnosed with a terminal illness, and there's like, we're going to have to start dialysis on you. We're going to have to do this and this and this. And all they were doing was shoving a whole bunch of prescriptions and all these things. And what I felt because of that is they didn't even see me. They don't know me. They don't know my name. They didn't ask the kind of questions. I just wanted somebody to ask me questions and feel like they cared. You can't give me an expiration date if you don't even know any of these things, right? So whenever we were talking about products and companies, stuff like that, I had to go find something for me. And once something was there and was helping and working for me, that why enough had made me cry that I remember sitting in my kitchen at the counter. And this was that aha moment that no matter what, I will do anything for anybody else. I was eating a bowl of spaghetti that was left over because it looked so good. And I'm just like, it's probably going to hurt if I eat that. But I'm really hungry. Like, I just want that. You never know. And whenever I wasn't in any pain, and when I was eating, I was sitting at the counter and I was crying. Robert walks through. He's like, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" It's like, "No, you don't understand." I was like, you don't get it. Like, I'm not in pain right now. Like, and I was like, there are other people like me. So no matter how much I get burnout, no matter how hard it is to deal with different people and their personalities, and then our personality clashes and, back orders or any of those types of things, I just have to remember there's someone out there like me that needs me. So I will give up and I'll fail for me. I'll fall short, but I will never give up on somebody else. And so that's why I started. And so that's what keeps me from getting burnout.
Amen. It's so interesting. We all think we're more different than we truly are, or that some people are superhuman or don't have the same pieces that cause them to question their day. Jeremiah, back to you. What out of all the things that happened last year in your role, what are you most grateful for when you look back on it?
Okay, sorry, you were breaking up there. Were you talking to me?
Sorry. Yep. I said let's go back to Jeremiah for the next question. Out of just all that happened last year, what are you most grateful for?
Oh, most grateful for? Honestly, I was part of a company from 2004 until 2015 or 16, roughly. And we experienced some really awesome growth. But from when we started, in fact, Eric Worre was part of that company. And I remember Eric talking to me as we were starting to grow. And he said, and there was this awesome event and this feeling of just this huge family. And he said, "Hey, I've been through this. I'm just warning you, this feeling you feel right now, it's not going to last forever. It's going to get so big that you don't have that." Well, I am most proud that at the company I'm at, we are 10 times bigger than that other company I was ever a part of in only 2 markets. And the culture that we have built is stronger than anything I've ever seen. And there is the family atmosphere that we strive for every day. We put culture before anything. In fact, we tell people we're a culture-led business, culture first, then product and other things. But our culture, we have 4 pillars that we're based around. So by far, what I'm most proud of is even through massive success, every person at this company feels like they're part of something that is doing good, a great culture. And, Joe or someone talked about kindness earlier. That's what it's all about. I mean, don't people really join these type of things to make their life better? Yep. And so I love that I can look back and say, look at all of these lives that are actually better in a real authentic way, though. That's the key, in the real way that you want to improve your life. And so hands down, that's what I'm most proud of.
So you got to say, Jeremiah, you've maintained this culture through this growth. What are your 4 pillars? We got to hear, like, okay. what, because they lasted, they made it through. They weren't just a thing on the website. They're real. Yeah. So walk us through the 4.
So talk about uplifting. We are big on uplifting everyone. There's a big problem in this world where people start having success and people want to tear them down. So we talk about uplifting big time. We talk about community, everything, whatever community you're a part of, whether it's big or small, doesn't matter. Is that your family? Is that your CrossFit? Big ladies you go on a walk in the park with? What is the community that you're a part of? And most of us have multiple communities, but be a good part of that community. light. So be a light, be somebody that can be a light for somebody else, be a light, and then activity. We're an activewear brand, and we believe in being active. Get out there and do something with your life. So those 4 things are things that we preach all day, every day, and things that we live by. So we believe that they've been a big part of our company.
Thanks for sharing. That was awesome. Joe, last year, all of it. What are you most grateful for?
Oh, I gotta say this, Jeremiah. Damn, man, that's good stuff right there. We're meeting for sure. We're close by, but we think alike for sure. Really, what am I most grateful for? It's people. I'm grateful for my partners. For any of you out there that don't know this, 2 of my partners are the main programmers for what we do, and then the other one is supply chain. And to have those kinds of partners, those types of people around me, I'm thankful for the gal that comes in and cleans the damn bathrooms. I'm thankful for every single human out there that's joined me and stood by my side and said, let's go do this. I see what you see. Let's go. It's just people. That's what I'm grateful for from this last year. Like Jeremiah, we built a culture. It sounds very similar to the same culture we built. We lift one another up. We help one another. I don't care what your problem, your question is. You're never going to sound stupid. And I like to tell everybody you will never be alone. And that is the damn truth. You can tell everybody you're best friends with the CEO and let's go. Let's just do this. Now, I know I can't maintain that forever. And obviously it's come a long ways in a short amount of time. And I can't help absolutely everybody, but I can find a person to help them. And I've created a group that can help them. But I'm just grateful for all the people that are with me. And I'm going to speak to one other thing. I'm even grateful for the people that are there every day that don't make any money. They needed a home. They needed a place to call home every day. And they found that. And some of them just don't have it in them to go out and sell, but they're there. And they are a friendly face, a smile. And I feel like I'm serving them as well at the same time because they're there. They're with a smile. They may not be making any money, but they found a home. And that's a part of our culture like Jeremiah's.
Yeah. When they're learning too. I mean, you don't put a value on. So many times we think like, well, the only win in direct sales is if they form an income for themselves. And yet, if you look at like some of the trends reports from last year, there's all these activities for doing for good together and all this personal development. I was on the phone earlier today with Kylie from Pampered Chef. She runs all marketing from Pampered Chef here in town in Chicago where I live. And she was sharing how excited she was that we have the CEO of Cutco and Vector coming to our future DSEF event in May. And her daughter, she runs Pampered Chef, but her daughter was a seller for Cutco knives the other summer and was saying how her daughter learned so many skills from that and that she was able to use that when she then did Pampered Chef this last summer. And so it was interesting for me to share with Kylie, hey, I know that, oh, wow, these skills, we think about how that helps young people in such an incredible way. And it's huge. It's absolutely huge. Laura, grateful 2020. What was it?
So I'm thankful for opportunity. And here's why I'm so there were so many times in 2020 and stuff whenever people were stressed out and really freaking out about being told they were non-essential. And I will tell you, I never had that worry. Anytime, even when I've ever been broke, I've never had that kind of worry that I wasn't essential. I wasn't in that because I was raised in an entrepreneur environment and an entrepreneur mindset. And that came from a ton of personal development and things that were introduced through being a 3rd generation network marketer. I've never had a time that I haven't felt like I can just go make some money anywhere. Sure. And I know that sounds, strange, be like, well, you don't worry about money. Yeah, I've worried about money, but I know I can go and make more. So it's not ever been something to where I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'll have that moment. I give myself a day and then I sit down and I think, okay, if I had to, I can literally sit here and make 100 cupcakes, post them on Facebook, and they will be sold like that. There's things I know that no matter what, my mindset is intact that I can go and I can do and I can create. But the thing, as far as the opportunity that I'm so thankful for, is that so many people have the residual. And then even those people that you thought that were never interested in your business before, those are the ones that are reaching out, being like, hey, how are you doing? How are you making it through this? Well, it's because I had my little side gig, that thing that you all were talking about and bashing me. Guess what's paying my bills? Guess why we're able to eat right now? And our lifestyles doesn't change, because we had this plan B, what people talk about, that became our plan A. And instead of it being where people were losing money in their network marketing business, all the companies were going up. Every single company that I know did incredibly well last year, because it also gave people time to work from home and really work their business. So if you're in health and wellness space, if you're in clothing, anything that you're out there, people were like, hey, what do you got? And, I'm sure Amazon, I haven't even looked, but Amazon sales just over last year were probably like double any other time, because people at home like me that were just, shopping, so I'm thankful that we have had the ability to have this kind of opportunity and this mindset, that it's been out there and available to so many people, that this has been their saving grace. So many people still out there don't know that there is a different and a better way that you can have that peace. And so I'm thankful that this opportunity gave us that peace.
Amen. That is awesome. All right, let's go to one fun one before we share a reflective thought, and we'll jump into the as we wrap up the call, team. How do you like to celebrate your big wins in life? What's your favorite way? And it's so different for everybody. Let's go with you first, Jeremiah. When you have a big win, how do you and your wife like to celebrate?
Well, I'm going to probably follow a little bit of what I can tell Joe likes to do, but what we do here is it's very important for us that everybody feels like they're part of the success. That same last company I was at, I was a part of a meeting before I was an executive, and the CEO got up there and said, we are killing it. You're going to notice 7 brand new 7 Series BMWs downstairs. And so you got 7 executives that are stoked, but everyone else is like, what the hell is going on? And so, look, I'm not saying that everybody should make the same amount of money, but one thing we did last month, we had our best month ever by far. Every person, and we've got several hundred employees, every person got $100 on their check without knowing, just kind of, we didn't tell them, waited till they got their check. And then we send out a little thing saying, hey, thank you. You're a part of this success. Awesome. So I just think, and that's just one little thing. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm just trying to give a real life example of a way that you can make sure that every person feels part of the success, because they are. Every person is part of that success. It's not just me or whoever or the top rep. Every person is part of that success. And so I feel like we focus a ton on recognizing our reps, but employees, from the guy that cleans the damn bathroom to does the picking and packing to answering customer service emails. Every person is part of what we're doing here. So when there is success, they all need to feel that they're a part of it.
Awesome. Joe.
You know what? I don't know that I have an answer for this, because I'm always chasing the next piece. I'm like, okay, I reached that number and I'm already on to the next number. I swear, I'm like, I got to stop once in a while and maybe treat myself or do something fun. I do like fine dining and shopping, and I have a home in Vegas, and it's probably one of the best places to do it. So, I think shutting off life's remote control sometimes for a few hours is a big treat, because this thing can be a ball and chain at times. So, I think just shutting off, literally turning off. Nobody can access me. I'm not accessing anybody. That's personal. As far as business, like Jeremiah, I like to share. I do. I like to share not just the message, but the wealth. If you share the message and the wealth, everybody's going to stay with you. They're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to cheat on you. It just, it just seems to work so well. And I'm in good company today. So
amen.
We're all on the same page.
Well, and there is something to be said about just taking a moment away from our phones, and we're so to just to enjoy a moment being present, whether that's a meal with a loved one or whatever. It's just to think through something, because you get to experience the gratefulness of it. That's a great thought as well. Laura, how about you and the fam?
Yeah. Well, Joe, I'm totally like you. Like, I love good food, and I'm definitely all bored about shopping and everything else too. Yeah. So one of my love languages is gift giving, gift receiving type of thing. That's like one of the ways that so my favorite thing to do, even though I am not a huge surprise person, like I don't really like someone to surprise me because I'm facial expressive. So I would much prefer to have like a heads up just in case and I'm just like, I'm like, hey. So like that I know about me. So I would prefer somebody to not surprise me just in case my face catches me off guard. But I love to send people random things. And I've noticed, so, oh my gosh, recognition for people is huge. And I had no clue, like being in the field and things like that. I really didn't understand that almost need of significance in some aspects, but just that, hey, I'm proud of you type of thing. And, you guys, we've all done this. We did this. And so I really, really love sending people things that they don't expect. And that's how I celebrate, because it makes me excited watching somebody else get excited. So I like buying people things and, them sending me, did you send me flowers? Did you send me? I'm like, I did. Like, do you like it? Are you happy? Like, you want to go get some food? Like, do you want to go? Like, I just get excited that way. So I love surprising people with things. And we have and I'm terrible with secrets. So maybe some of my team won't get to see this. But like we have a surprise for our corporate team coming up, and where we're doing something and taking them all someplace because of how well they handled what we've all been going through, and yes, we're going to work there and stuff too. But at the same time, just getting in a different atmosphere sometimes just rejuvenates people, and then they get excited to work hard so they can go to the next time. It's not always just about the VIPs and like customers, things like that, because it is so much about them, but we have to take care of our own people too. And I love surprising them.
Awesome. Man, and the giving piece, leaders and executives listening, and Jeremiah and others, when you get these bigger organizations, gang, just making a phone call to people who have rank advanced, it can be life-changing. Some of the people in your field, taking 5 minutes to say, I notice you, can create loyalty in a huge way. All right, team, I promised we wouldn't go over the hour, and these guys' schedules are crazy busy. I want to respect them because I know they have their meetings probably popping up in just 3 minutes here. So I want to just take a moment and thank everyone for being here on the line today. And we got through 5 of our questions that you've been asking, team, from LinkedIn, Facebook. Awesome. So Jeremiah, Joe, Laura, just super grateful that you chose to spend this hour with us together today. And for those of you that are new to the DSEF, next month in May, we have an amazing strategist coming on. We have Mark Bearderweiden, who for 25 years ran all of Europe and Asia for Amway. Okay, so managed $6 billion a year in sales, and he's going to be talking about some of the things that long-term take you out of the game, and your vision and those pieces. And it'll be a solo session between Mark and I. That's going to be very, very fun. And then coming up in June, we already have Alexandro from Sankey, the big Japanese company through Mexico, right? That's in a wellness space, coming out to speak along with Al, the CEO of Cutco and Vector, is going to be on. And we have a guest that we'll be announcing shortly. We have 3 killer ladies who run companies such as Unique and others that will be speaking in July in our session. And I can't even wait to tell you who's coming in August. The executive roundup is getting super fun. So if you haven't yet joined the LinkedIn forum, or you haven't joined the Facebook forum, make sure you get in there so you get access to the replays and the content. And just give it up. Everyone in the chat is saying thank you from everyone. So thank you for being here, for those that were here live, and for those on replay. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk with you soon. All right. Thank you, gang. All right.
Bye,
Cheers. Have a
Thanks,
wonderful
everybody.
day. Bye for now.
Thanks.